When you start something new and you find something you really love and passionate about, whether that's a hobby, some kind of new adventure, or even just a new lifestyle, you're going to find things that you love about that lifestyle and things you don't love so much about it. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. Things I wish I knew before I started riding a motorcycle. So no matter where you're at in this journey, it's going to be pretty fun to see some of the things that y'all wish you had known beforehand as well. Make sure you comment down below after the video and let me know things that you have just learned to love about this or not so much. Maybe you're not even riding just yet, but you're thinking about it. Post those things down below as well. What are you anticipating to love and or hate about riding a motorcycle? You can kind of look at this as the pros and cons, but I'm going to give you 5 things I wish I knew beforehand. Let's go ahead and jump right in. Now, one thing to know is accessorizing your motorcycle is pretty much a necessity. And one of the first things we all start with is exhaust. Now, I personally choose Reinhardt because they make Harley sound amazing. So what they've done through the end of December 31st is site-wide they are running 25% off on slip-ons and full exhaust system for Indian and Harleys. No code is needed. So this is a great idea to give to your significant other, or heck, buy it for yourself, but this way you have something to open on Christmas Day that you can actually enjoy. Not another sweater, not no underwear, any crap like that, but something you can use year-round that you're gonna love. We'll take this 2-in-1 full exhaust for a Harley M8, for example, and again, normal price $1,064. We add it to the cart and boom, automatically drops to the new price of $798. So big thanks to Reinhardt for sponsoring today's video and hooking the community up with an awesome discount. The first thing that I wish I knew is that I have now become invisible on the road. It's on there, so... And the ABS works, by the way. When you buy a motorcycle, you have shrunk your size, weight, and profile down to what, maybe a third or less of a vehicle's width, size, and all of that. And congratulations, you have become invisible man or invisible woman to the rest of the people driving around you. And as scary as that may sound with people pulling out in front of you, on their phones or whatever, don't feel too bad. How many times have you seen car versus car wrecks in the morning times or on your afternoon commute? It's apparent that people just don't pay attention, and so when you shrink that profile of a motorcycle down as little as it is just bound to happen. People will pull out in front of you. There are going to be times where you cannot believe what that person just did. But that is something that you actually have more control over than what you think. If you practice emergency braking and you practice swerving and you really gain control of your motorcycle and you are fully in control, you will start to become more confident on the road. Not overconfident, but just confident enough that you don't have to be in fear every time you get on your motorcycle. Skills you can rely on when things like that do happen, but also a lot of times you can stop these things before they even happen, and that's why it's so important to be a defensive rider and see things coming before they even happen. Trust me, it's not as scary as it sounds. No matter what city you really live in, you can avoid these things. There's people that have ridden for decades without incidents because they think ahead, they're smart on their feet. Sure, things do happen, but once you get on a motorcycle and you see like you see and feel the freedom that provides, it's a risk reward thing. Just know you are invisible on the road, and when you know that, you treat it like that, you're gonna be good to go once you get yourself trained up and your confidence up. I've always heard that you save money buying a motorcycle. I had always heard that, and nothing could be further from the truth. I mean, if you look at the price of tires, brake pads, accessories, I mean, hell, right now, premium gas I mean, yes, you can go further on that stuff, and it's going to be much cheaper to fill a motorcycle than it will pretty much any other type of vehicle, but it's still expensive to do it. It is still an expensive thing. Monthly payments. Have you seen the price of road glides, street glides, CVOs, Indians, freaking Gold Wings, sport bikes, high-end sport bikes? It can be pretty expensive. I would not expect to save a ton of money, especially if you are buying one in addition to a vehicle as well, right? I mean, because now you have an extra payment if you financed it, you have extra expenses that are going to be saved up along the way. I think when people say that, they're talking really about insurance and gas, which insuring a bike is definitely much cheaper, depending on your driving record, of course, but generally it's going to be much cheaper. And gas, yes, you can get 50 miles a gallon on a motorcycle if you literally never open the throttle. You could potentially get that. I'm kidding. I mean, you're going to get better gas mileage than a truck or a big SUV for sure, but it's not. I don't know that it's that much better. Regardless, again, I wouldn't let that stop me from buying a bike, but I wish I had known, man, this is actually pretty expensive. Another thing I wish I kind of knew is the skill it takes to ride a motorcycle and the time it takes to get really good. Now, this is largely dependent upon who inspires you to ride motorcycles. There's a lot of old school guys out there that just ride, and they may not be in full control of their motorcycles when it comes to U-turns and emergency braking and swerving and things like that. So depending upon who sparks the interest in you will depend on how much you really think about these things, but I can promise you it's something you're going to want to invest time and energy into to be as in control and safe on the road as possible, and honestly, to have the most enjoyable ride, knowing that if something happens, you have the skills that you can rely on to save your life. That's a pretty awesome feeling, man. And I'm not even there yet, to be honest with you. And I still love this, but I'm willing to put in time to learn these things, and I want to master my motorcycle. So there's a difference there. But just understand, hopping in a car and hopping on a motorcycle, two totally different things. You're gonna want to invest some time into riding and perfecting those skills. And it's not gonna happen overnight, but it really doesn't even take that long either. You just got to make sure you keep those skills sharpened because they definitely are perishable. Wind is addicting. Yeah, once you get into this and you get on a motorcycle, you get your first motorcycle or whatever, and you get on the road, you'll see what I'm talking about. Or if you've been doing it a long time, you know what I'm talking about. It's the sights, the smells, the open air, the freedom, no seat belt, just you, your machine, and the road. It really is a pretty awesome experience. And all of the places that you can see in a car versus on a motorcycle, there is no comparison. On a motorcycle is so much better. It's so much more enjoyable. I mean, even if it comes down to you just riding to your local Harley shop to meet other riders and or events or whatever, getting a bunch of bikes together and everybody with this passion and this common interest, really an addicting thing. So get ready for that aspect of it. If you would have told me that I've been through 4 bikes in 5 years, 5 years ago, I would have told you that's insane. But that's exactly what I've done. And it's just a matter of finding, because I only have one bike, I don't have multiple bikes, which would solve a lot of these issues, to be honest with you. But having just one bike, trying to find that bike that really suits all of your needs, depending on what those needs are, it can be tough, man. And sometimes you really got to kind of ride a bike for a little while. The simple test drive sometimes, unfortunately, can't tell you everything about that motorcycle. 20 minutes, 30 minutes sometimes. It's just sometimes hard to gauge where that bike is lacking, and you find that on later down the road. So a lot of times, man, when you're first starting out, it's best to buy used. That way the depreciation has kind of already been hit and you can resell it, regain most of your money, and then put that into something you want. But again, don't be surprised. If you're kind of swapping bikes, you may do this for the rest of your freaking riding career. I may do it. Who the heck knows? Miss Techshot literally told me she's not buying me any more motorcycle accessories because I just sell the bikes like crazy. So there you go. It is something that you will potentially do. And then once you get comfortable on your first bike, which is generally going to be a starter bike and something more forgiving, you're going to want to quickly upgrade that motorcycle. I would suggest, and I've went against my own suggestions here, and this is kind of before I really even thought about this stuff, but I would suggest mastering that bike before you decide to move on to a bigger and better motorcycle. And that again is going to take you on a good path as far as being confident, safe, and all that kind of stuff. So there you go, man. There are 5 things that I wish I knew before I started riding a motorcycle. Again, I'd love to hear what your list would look like, or things that you wish you knew. I might actually use those in a future video. So big thanks to you guys for supporting the channel. If you want to support me further, I'll leave a link down to Patreon in the description. You can support me for $1 a month, dude. $1 from a lot of people really helps a ton, man. Big thanks to you guys. See you in the next one. And as always, hold the rubber side down.